Hello everyone, welcome to this class which will focus on one of the primary sources of business in highly profitable real estate agent careers, specifically sphere of influence marketing, which can be defined as becoming the preferred agent with those who know, like, and trust you. Before we get into the content, let me just take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Frank Gray. I am the owner of Abbey Realty and the founder of the Aspire Real Estate Training System. I've got a beautiful family, my wife Mary, couple children, couple beautiful grandchildren. They are the joy of my life. I'm also very thrilled to serve the agents at Abbey Realty. The picture on your screen, I think, was our 2-month anniversary back in January of 2018. We have now grown to be well over 100 real estate agents. By the time you're watching this, who knows, maybe over 1,000, maybe 1,000,000, I don't know. We're having a great time. When I'm not working, helping real estate agents achieve at any level of aspiration, I enjoy being outdoors, either in a canoe, a kayak, fishing, camping, hiking, something of that nature. Let's start with a question, and I'd like you to answer this very sincerely. Will your family, friends, neighbors, fellow church members, and even past clients and customers automatically call you when they have a real estate need? The short answer is no, they will not. That comes as a surprise to many newer agents because they think that if their friends and family simply know that they have a real estate license, that they will get the phone call when their friends have a real estate need. But those of us who've been doing this for very long know that is simply not the case. Most of us have had very disappointing and surprising encounters with a relative, say Uncle Joe at a family reunion, where we say, "Hey, Uncle Joe, how you doing?" Uncle Joe says, "Hey, I'm doing great, just bought a new house." We have that sinking feeling. Well, Uncle Joe, how could you have just bought a house? Did you not know that I'm a Coldwell Banker real estate agent? And Uncle Joe says, "Well, I got great news. I used a Coldwell Banker real estate agent." No, not so great news for us. How in the world does that happen? Why do we not automatically get the call every time somebody within our sphere has a real estate need? Well, I think there are a number of reasons. One, sometimes people simply forget that we are a real estate agent. They know us in some other capacity, a friend, cousin, neighbor, somebody who's a member of their club or their church, but they simply don't think of us from a vocational or professional perspective. And to that, I would say, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it to consistently remind people that we are carrying competent real estate professionals who are willing and able to help them with their real estate needs? I think that's on us. That's our responsibility because this is the career path that we have chosen to fund our lives. And a huge part of that funding mechanism is simply letting people know what business we're in. Perhaps they remembered you, but forgot your name. It's very interesting. Most real estate agents fear being perceived as a used car salesperson, when in fact, NAR studies year after year show that most buyer and seller clients are very happy with their real estate agent experience. Well over 80% said that they would use and recommend the agent that they worked with on their last transaction. However, 2 years after the transaction, the same percentage, well over 80%, cannot even remember the name of that agent. Again, I would say, whose fault is that? They remembered your name, but don't know how to contact you. People move, people change brokerages, agents change their email address, we have phone number changes. So perhaps they remembered us, they want to use us, but they simply don't know how to get into contact with us. Then finally, they know you, of course, but they also know 10 other agents and may work with one of them. We live in Texas, and here everyone's got a driver's license, fishing license, carry license, and oh, by the way, a real estate license. Just because they know us doesn't mean that we're going to be the one selected from that fairly large group of people that they know who have a real estate license. It could be the agent who helped them on the last transaction. It could be their cousin who just got a real estate license. It could be the agent who's been aggressively marketing in their neighborhood. It could be an agent that they simply called off a yard sign when they saw a home that looked interesting to them. We do not automatically get the call. Now, we can put ourselves in the preferred position to get the call, and that's what this class is all about. Sphere of Influence Marketing is about getting that call every time. Every's a bit of a strong word, too strong, honestly. We don't live in a perfect world, and we certainly don't perfectly control other people. So we don't get the call every time, but we can put ourselves in position to get that call most of the time. How does that happen? Pay very carefully to this definition of sphere of influence marketing, because every word has been carefully chosen. Sphere of influence marketing is about consistently communicating with a growing audience of contacts that you are a competent, caring real estate professional who is willing and able to assist them with their real estate needs. Let's focus on that word consistently for just a moment. I've coached literally thousands of agents over the last 20, 25 years, and many of them express frustration when it comes to marketing to a sphere of influence, a geographic farm, a demographic farm, reaching out to anybody consistently. And they'll say things, well, I tried that. How long did you try it for? I'd say, I did it every month for 3 months, or I did it for 6 months and nobody called me. I didn't get any business out of it. Consistently communicating means regularly communicating with this target group of contacts for as long as you are a real estate professional. I often say, jokingly, but also completely seriously, once you're in my world, you never get out. If you're a client of mine, or if you are a prospect that I am trying to develop a relationship with, I will continue to reach out to you consistently. And at a minimum, that means some form of communication monthly for the rest of my life, or the rest of your life, or until you absolutely insist that I take you off my communication list. You never, ever, ever get out of my world. That should be every real estate professional's mantra. And there's no reason it can't be our practice, because there are means of communicating with masses of people, literally thousands of people, that cost us nothing. And if that seems too astounding to be real, stay with me. I'll share with you a mechanism for doing that when we get into the plan in part 2 of this class. You're communicating with a growing audience of contacts. As you're going to see when we get down into the nuts and bolts of this program, you are going to launch a massive effort initially to build your database, to get all your contacts in there, to get them appropriately tagged, grouped, sorted, so that you can extract very specific groups of contacts. But once that's done, your job is not done. We are going to build this database. We're going to build the group of people that we are consistently communicating with as a disciplined practice within our real estate sales business. What are you sharing with them? What is this message that you're communicating? It's that you are a competent, caring real estate professional who's willing and able to assist them with their real estate needs. In other words, you can help them. You have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise, the training, the legal authority to help them with their real estate needs, and you want to. You're both willing and able to help them with their real estate needs. You are both competent and caring. That's the message that we're going to send to everybody who enters our real estate sales world for as long as we are in this profession. Everything I know about building an extremely profitable real estate sales business can be summed up in 2 short statements. So if you've been looking for the secrets of the real estate kingdom, if you've been looking for somebody to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what it takes, what are highly profitable real estate sales professionals doing to achieve those levels of success, brace yourselves. Here it comes. Number 1, grow your sphere of influence. Grow the number of people that you are consistently communicating with, that you are a competent, caring real estate sales professional who's willing and able to help them with their real estate needs. Grow that database. Add more people. Top salespeople in any profession open the door to new relationships on a daily basis. You wake up in the morning, what am I going to do today? I'm going to grow my sphere of influence. I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to, even if I've not met them personally, I'm going to add people into my database so that I can begin communicating to them. Even if I generate those contacts, those names and contact information of prospects from third-party sources, or I buy a list, or I go into Realist and extract information. However it happens, whether it's personal or impersonal, I am committed to growing that sphere of influence consistently. And then once I do that, I market to my sphere of influence. I send that consistent message to this growing group of people that I am a competent, caring real estate professional, willing and able to help them with their real estate needs. So there you go. Grow your sphere, market to your sphere. Grow your sphere, market to your sphere. Say it with me. Grow your sphere, market to your sphere. That should be your mantra as a real estate sales professional. What am I doing to build a highly profitable real estate sales business? I'm growing my sphere and marketing to my sphere. That's my to-do list every single day in my business. And if you'll adopt that as a mantra, if you'll repeat it to your brain so that it becomes internalized, that unconscious mantra will begin to drive very visible and outward behavior that causes you to engage in productive behavior that creates a highly profitable real estate sales business. Sphere of influence, just in case you're wondering what in the world does that mean, it's everyone that you consistently offer to help with their real estate needs. That seems obvious enough. These are people that I am influencing. So my sphere, my circle, the area where I have influence is people that I'm consistently communicating with, sending that message about my willingness and ability to help them. But if it seems very obvious, we might want to scratch just a little bit and go below the surface. Think with me for just a minute. Your next door neighbor. You've lived with them, next to them for 10 years. You've watched each other's kids grow up. You pass hamburgers back and forth over the back fence when you're barbecuing. You pick up each other's newspapers when you're on vacation. You know these people well. You enjoy talking with them out on the curb or in the yard. But in the entire 10 years, you have never sent them an email message, a text message. You've never sent them a postcard or had a conversation with them about helping with them with their real estate needs. Do they have any interest in buying, selling, leasing, or investing? You've never asked that question. Are they in your sphere of influence? The answer is no, they're not. Even though you know them very well and their families on a personal basis, you have never stepped into the professional sphere with them. You've never offered to help them with their real estate needs. Therefore, you have no right to expect that when they have a real estate need, they'll reach out to you. This is a classic example of people who know you, know your name, but they don't even think of you as a real estate sales professional because you have not offered your services to them. Another quick example, because it's very important that you understand this. Let's say that you buy online leads, perhaps from Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Just yesterday, you got a new lead. You got a name, got a phone number, got an email address. You went into action immediately. fired off a text message, sent them an email, picked up the phone and called them. You did that 3 times yesterday, at 10 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, at 6 o'clock. They did not respond to any of your messages. You have yet to actually provoke a response from them. Are they in your sphere of influence? Absolutely. They are right now, because you are consistently offering to help them with their real estate needs. They haven't said yes. They haven't responded. You haven't met them face to face. If you bumped them into them at the grocery store, you wouldn't know who they are. But nevertheless, they fit within the definition, because you're consistently messaging them that you are willing and able to help them with their real estate needs. Therefore, they're in your sphere. They qualify as those people that you're adding to your database to grow your sphere and then market to your sphere. In the last 24 hours, you've grown your sphere by adding them, and you've marketed to the sphere through your calls, texts, and email messages. They are in your sphere of influence. There are 2 big reasons agents don't market to their sphere. One, they fear that people will think they're abusing the relationship. Back to our example of your next door neighbor. Many agents would say, well, I know them on a personal basis. I don't want them to think that I'm trying to use that relationship for financial reasons, that I'm trying to sell them something. And so they zip their lips and they never say a word and never broach the subject of helping them with their real estate needs. Secondly, agents fear that they will mess up and look bad in front of their friends. This is particularly true of newer, inexperienced agents. They're much more willing to host an open house and come into contact with prospective buyers and sellers that they don't have any ongoing relationship with. Much more willing to buy online leads, to pay big money for marketing sources of business where they have no organic connection, no affinity with these people. I think that's absolutely wrong. Both of these reasons or excuses that agents give have one thing in common. They're based in fear. And I think it's very appropriate that right up front we address the nature of fear. What is fear? In most cases, you'll discover that it is false evidence appearing real. In other words, it's not true. It's not based in reality. Go back and look at these 2 things. Are people really going to think that we're abusing our relationship when we offer to help them with their real estate needs? Well, if you were sick and went to a doctor and the doctor offered to help you, would you think the doctor was abusing the relationship, even if perhaps you knew that doctor at church or at the fitness club? No. You have personal needs and relationships. You also have professional needs and relationships, and they can absolutely overlap. Most people, in fact, will want to do business with you because of your personal relationship. They want to do business with somebody that they know, like, and trust, particularly in a transaction as large as purchasing or selling a home. So there's a great comfort level there. So even if you're new to the real estate profession and you think, well, I don't really have that expertise. I'm not sure they can trust me. Oh yes, the Texas Real Estate Commission has actually licensed you as a real estate professional. And they didn't do that willy-nilly. You had to attend classes. You had to pass tests. You had to pass a criminal background check. You had to be fingerprinted. You even passed a national and state exam demonstrating your competence as a real estate professional. So even if you have never sold a house in your life, you know far more about the process of writing contracts, negotiating deals, managing the transaction, getting a successful outcome for your buyers and sellers than the buyers and sellers themselves would ever know. So they can trust you, and they want to trust you. That fear is not real. And the fear that you'll mess up in front of your friends and family, they're cheering for you. And they don't expect you to know everything your first day in this business. None of us can ever know everything. So it's perfectly acceptable to say, that's a great question. Let me go check with my broker, or let me check with a couple other agents who've had experience in this area before. People don't think badly of you because of that, whether it's your first day on the job or you're a 10-year veteran. So those things are false. They're not real. And you don't want to give in to them. The real estate industry has the worst failure rate among its professionals of any industry that I'm aware of. Within 2 years, 80% of real estate agents don't even renew their license. And 5 years later, 93% of new licensees are out of the business entirely. 93%. How is that even possible? It's because they give in to fear. They don't reach out to the people who are most likely to do business with them, friends, families, neighbors, people within their personal sphere. They never attract them into their professional sphere. And therefore, they spend their first couple of years of business trying to do deals with people who are far more unlikely to do business with them. And they fail to get traction. So please don't give in to this false evidence, but instead embrace the reality that people want to do business with you and they don't expect you to know everything. I want to share with you a different perspective on sphere of influence marketing that might help you with these fears. Here's the scenario. If you have the knowledge and skills to help people with a specific problem, don't you have a moral obligation to do so, to help them, or at least to offer your assistance? And let me just use an extreme example. If you were walking down the street, saw a house on fire, and you were aware that there were people in the home, don't you have a moral obligation to do something but jump up and down, scream, pound on the door, throw a rock through the window, call 911? You've got to do something because you have the knowledge that can help those people, that can literally save their lives. Most of us would agree, well, of course you have a moral obligation to do something. That's an extreme example, but I would say that the analogy holds even in real estate sales. People who are buying or selling a home, they're leasing a home, they're investing in real estate, they need professional guidance. If they get that one wrong, they could lose their life savings. They could lose out on their dream home. All kinds of stuff could happen that would negatively impact their finances and the stability of their family. And if we as a real estate professional can help them with that, don't we have an obligation to at least offer our assistance? Again, I'll use a personal example. I used to sell real estate at a high level. Now I'm out of the real estate sales business personally, and I'm into the real estate agent business. That's what I'm focused on, helping agents achieve at any level of aspiration. But when I was active in real estate sales, I would wear a branded logo shirt, even to church. I wore it everywhere. I wore it on Saturdays when I was mowing the lawn. I wore it when I went to church on Sunday. And I had family members say, "Frank, how can you do that? Wearing a branded shirt to church?" And I'm like, well, who else goes to church? So what I would tell them, well, people, right? Well, where do those people live? Well, they live in houses. So they occasionally have a need to buy or sell those houses, right? Right. Well, that's an issue. It can be a problem. And I have the professional expertise to help them with that. So no, I'm not walking down the aisles of church or going between the pews handing out business cards, but I am just sending a passive but direct message that I'm a real estate professional. And if they want the assistance of a friend who has professional expertise, it's just a gentle reminder that they can call me, that I'm willing and able to help them. There is a third reason, by the way, that agents don't consistently market to their sphere. And it is because it's expensive. Marketing costs money. Who can afford to send postcards and magazines and all that kind of stuff? You've probably had this conversation with yourself, particularly if you're launching your real estate career. You're like, well, I'm going to do that someday. Right now I'm just going to focus on making calls and knocking on doors, but I can't afford to mail postcards or magazines or even to buy online leads. I just can't afford that right now. I'm going to address this issue directly before we're done in this class. I'll share with you a way that you can have the absolute highest quality marketing materials to send to your sphere of influence. and it costs you absolutely nothing, completely free. But before we get there, I just want to address the fact that you'll never be able to do that behaviorally if you don't first adopt a belief, a mindset that you're not going to give in to any of these excuses. That people are going to think badly of you, that they're going to think you're abusing the relationship, that you don't have all the answers, therefore you can't offer your services. Oh, it costs money to make money. Those are all excuses that paralyze people and prevent them from building profitable real estate sales careers. I want to suggest a new motto, a new mindset that will drive productive behavior. It goes like this: I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. Like this thing that marketing is too expensive. It can be extremely expensive. But if you don't have any money, are you just going to say, well, I guess I have to accept that? No. You're going to figure out a way. You're going to talk to your broker. You're going to talk to some other agents. You're going to talk to me. And I will show you a way. But you have to have that never say die. That mountain's in front of me, but I'm going to go over it, around it, or through it, one way or the other. I'm not allowing that to stop me. And if you have that mindset, you'll find the answers. You'll find a way. You know, it should be absolutely unacceptable to everybody who's in the real estate sales profession not making a fabulous living in this business. Seriously. And I don't judge people's aspirations. If you tell me you want to make $50,000 a year, I'll help you. If you want to make $500,000 a year, let's go there. You want to make $1 million plus, you want to build a massive team, yahoo, I can help. But if you think about it, should we really be incurring all the liability that we have as a real estate professional? We got a big bullseye on us for lawsuits. Anybody who's unhappy with these big financial transactions, they think we're all rich anyway. We drive all these nice cars. They'll just sue us. Should we really take on that liability? As well as the sacrifices that are required in being a real estate sales professional. Yeah, we might be home at night with our families, but chances are we're working on our computer while they're watching TV. We're out perhaps missing Little League ball game on Saturday because we're showing houses. We spend a lot of time, and our families make great sacrifices for us to be in this profession. Is it worth doing that if we're not making a fabulous income? If all that were enough, who's making deposits into our 401k? Who's paying our Social Security? Who's paying our self-employment tax? As far as I know, that's all on us. So we incur great legal liability, great financial liability, and make tremendous personal sacrifices to be in this business. Should we settle for anything other than a fabulous income if that's the path that we have chosen? I don't think so. If you're content with 30, 40, 50,000, you probably ought to just manage a Kentucky Fried Chicken. You can make that kind of money there and not have all these other liabilities and responsibilities. So my opinion, but hey, you're watching my class, so it's okay to get a big dose of my opinion, that the thing that we should not accept in this profession is not making a fabulous income. And we don't have to, because this profession will fund any life we can imagine. And if you doubt that for a moment, just look around you. Yes, most agents have a mediocre existence. They're not making a great living, but some are. And some of those who are making an unbelievable living faced much greater challenges than you face right now in order to get where they are. If they could do it, you could do it. Here's why your sphere of influence should form the foundation of your business. And I do believe in having multiple sources of business, sources of income, multiple streams of revenue as a real estate sales professional. But I do believe your sphere should be the foundation. It's the low-hanging fruit. And yes, we can climb the tree higher, we can go out on the limb further, but why don't we just reach up and grab the big juicy peaches that are hanging right in front of us first? Here's why. Your sphere are the people most likely to do business with you. They already know you, like you, trust you, or you've been building that relationship, even if you've never met them personally, through your consistent communication that you're willing and able to help them. They're the most inexpensive leads to generate and convert because of this proclivity to do business with you already, because of the personal relationship or your professional marketing outreach to them. That's highly efficient. And in this business, we need efficiencies. It's absolutely possible to be busy, to work 80 hours a week and make nothing in this business. It's also possible to spend a fortune in this business and not make any money. So we need to look for efficiencies. What's going to give us the most bang for the buck? Where can we get the most return for the least investment? And the answer is from our sphere of influence. They're the most loyal to us. We rarely have to discount to win their business. And when we do a great job for them, they often become raving fans who refer us to others. We get those benefits from our sphere of influence that we rarely get from other sources of business, which leads to my proven conviction that your first $100,000 every year should come from your sphere of influence. That's my conviction for all those reasons we just identified. But I call it my proven conviction because I have seen this in my own real estate sales business. Again, I've coached hundreds of agents around this strategy, and I have seen it happen in their business as well. Get the easy $100,000 first. That should come from your sphere. If that doesn't fully satisfy your financial aspirations, then you can go higher in the tree. You can go out further on the limb. We can either add additional sources of business, or we can really double down on growing your sphere. You could get double six figures, triple six figures or more just from your sphere if you are consistently focused on growing it and marketing to it. But sometimes just as a matter of interest, we want to explore other sources. We want to do online marketing, Facebook marketing, geographic farming. I believe in all of those things. But let's get our first 100,000 every year from our sphere. That'll cover living expenses for most of us. Then we can reinvest and explore and play with other sources as we have need or desire to do so. Here's how it works. Your first $100,000 from your sphere. I coach agents to be on a race to get 100 local families into their database, into their sphere as quickly as possible. And I say race because in interviewing new and inexperienced agents, one of the first questions I always ask is, if I gave you a piece of paper and asked you to write down the first names of everybody that you know in the local area, most of them stall out at about 25 or 30. Really, they think that's all that they know. And then I lead them through a process, which I'll do a little bit with you in this class, where they discover they know far more people than they thought. So we're on this race to 100, and the reason is that 100 families will get you $100,000 if you are consistently messaging them about your competence and care as a real estate sales professional. Here's how it works. Here's just some numbers to support that. The average sale price in Houston right now, we're at the tail end of 2018, is $270,000. That would yield an average commission of $8,000 at a 3% commission. We know that 1 out of 7 families are going to move every year on average. That would be 15 families out of our 100, yielding a potential gross commission income of $120,000, 15 times 8. But far beyond that, each of these 100 families knows 5 other families that will move this year. That's an additional 500 potential transactions. 500 times 8,000 average commission yields a potential pool of commission income of $4 million if we could extract and convert all of those referrals. Now, again, we don't live in a perfect world. That's not going to happen. We're not going to get 100%. But what is reasonable if we are engaging in a proactive marketing strategy? Well, I think we should at least get 50% of the primary transactions from those 100 families. And that would yield $60,000 in annual commission income. So of those 15 transactions, we're getting half. We're getting 7 or 8. That's $60,000. And if we only convert 1% of these sphere of influence referrals, that's 40,000. Well, when I went to school, 60 plus 40 was $100,000 gross commission income. There we go. 100 families, 100 grand. Are those reasonable, realistic conversion rates? Well, my goodness, if you can't at least get half the business from what I would describe as your A's and B's, I'll define that later, but these are people that you actually know, you have some affinity with, and you're reaching out to them consistently. Can you at least get half of their transactions? I would think so. And 1%, can you extract 1% referrals and convert at that rate? You know, the national conversion rate on online leads from all sources is 1%. People always say, I don't like online leads. Those leads are terrible. Well, they are. 99 out of 100 will never close a home with you. But agents are getting wealthy converting online leads, particularly if they don't settle for that 1% average, because it is possible to greatly multiply that conversion rate. Zillow considers a world-class conversion rate to be about 5%. That's what their top 10, 20% agents convert at, 5 times the average. And I personally know agents who've gone to 8, 9, 10%. Have an agent in my company right now converting online leads from our Abby Buyer Leads program at a 15% conversion rate. Well, those numbers will make you wealthy. But understand where I'm going with all this. If the national average conversion rate on online leads, people we don't have any relationship or connection with, is 1%, shouldn't we be able to get a 1% conversion rate on referrals, warm referrals from our sphere of influence? I think so. In fact, I think at $100,000, we are way selling ourselves short. For example, if we could convert 80% of our sphere of influence transactions, of those 15, we got 80%, that's $96,000. And frankly, that's a more reasonable, realistic number to me than 50%. And if we just got a 5% conversion rate on those sphere of influence referrals, that is $200,000 of additional income. So what's actually possible from 100 local families in our sphere of influence that we have some connection with? $296,000, nearly $300,000 from those 100 families. Do you understand now why we're talking about sphere of influence marketing and why I call it the foundation of your business, why it's my proven conviction that you should get at least $100,000 every year from your sphere? The money is there. And to put that in perspective, take a look at these annual average salaries earned in Houston, Texas. And again, this is 2018. Salaries don't move much. A teacher, just over $30,000. Whew, that's an issue. Assistant manager at Walmart, $48,000. How many hours a week do you think they're working to earn $48,000 a year? Probably all of them. An RN, now we're into the medical profession, $74,000. Would you work for $74,000 doing the things that RNs have to do? My goodness, I wouldn't. I'm grateful for them. A CPA, I was shocked at this, $89,000 average annual income. I thought it would have been 2 or 3 times that amount. Now here we go, a lawyer. This is the big money. Everybody wants their kid to grow up to be a lawyer or a doctor. How much are they making? $148,000. Really? Can you even support a family on that? If you're a lawyer, and again, you're paying for your office and staff and your own taxes and a big E&O policy, to me, that wouldn't be worth it. But what about a physician? Now we're talking about, the creme de la creme. Only $282,000 a year. I was shocked at how low that was. But let's go even beyond that. Surgeons, the tip of the spear, the top of the mountain, $390,000 a year. Again, I was shocked that it was that little to go to years and years and years of grueling education and residency and graduate with $500,000 in student loan debt to just make $390. You know what's amazing about this country and about the real estate sales business? With just a high school education or no education at all, coming here from a foreign country, not even knowing the English language when you arrive, moving to a new town, a new metro area like Houston, not knowing a single person when you arrive, in very short order, if you apply yourself to implementing proven strategies in a real estate sales business, you can make as much as a surgeon. That's right. And not have to go to school for 16 years or incur $500,000 in debt. But is that true? Are there people in real estate sales making $390,000 plus every year? Oh my goodness, yes. I have more friends making that kind of money than I could actually count, and some making 10 times that much every year. Now, of course, they built big teams, but you can do that in real estate sales. There's no limit on how large you can grow your real estate sales business. This whole sphere of influence marketing strategy that I'm talking about is really just a small piece of a program that I roll out in my company. I do it annually, called the 100K Club, where I teach 4 sources of business: sphere of influence marketing, geographic farming, demographic farming, and Facebook marketing. And if you attend the classes, implement the strategies, attend little mastermind groups that we put together between classes to focus on implementation of the strategies, I tell our agents, I guarantee you'll add $100,000 GCI to your business in the next 12 months. And you can see why I can make that statement with such great confidence, because I'm only asking $25,000 additional revenue from each of these sources, and we've just shown that you can get $100,000 just from sphere of influence marketing alone. You press that accelerator, you can drive it up to $296,000, and I'm saying just get 25 just to implement at a small level. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be highly efficient. If you just focus on this proven strategy, you'll be able to generate a significant level of income, even if your conversion rates aren't great, even if your level of investment is not great. And that's because you're operating in an area with people who are likely to do business with you if you just remind them, hey, it's Joe Bob over here. I'm in the real estate business. I'd like to help you sell a house or buy a house. If you just send that message, even if it's not crafted great, even if it's not beautiful, that money will show up in your business. Is this a great business or what? So I've been sharing with you lots of numbers, lots of opportunities. I've been doing it very purposefully, trying to work on your brain, on your beliefs, to kind of stretch what you may have thought were the limits of your capability or the limits of what's possible in the real estate sales business. So the question I have for you now, kind of a check-in to see if I've been successful in my efforts, is this realistic? Can you really get $25,000 additionally from your sphere of influence in the next 12 months, or $100,000, or $296,000? Look with me for a moment at the 2 beautiful young people on your screen. What do they have in common? They each have hair. They each have a comb. True. But here's what I would like to point out. They each have a part. It's corny, I know, but stay with me. There's a point to this. They each have a part, and so do you and I. These numbers that I've been sharing with you, these possibilities, are absolutely realistic on 2 conditions. 1, you have a plan that's based on proven systems and strategies. And 2, you work your plan. You probably heard the old timer say, maybe your grandpa, that the secret to all success was to plan your work and work your plan. Plan your work, work your plan. That's true to the extent that your plan is based on proven strategies. You don't want to just go out there and try stuff willy-nilly. You don't want to try to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes people are successful doing that, but the odds are low. A very small percentage of those who are trying to figure out the new thing are actually successful. The way to guarantee your success at 100% is to use proven systems and strategies, things that real estate sales professionals have been making money with, highly profitable incomes for years and years and years. Number one, you have a plan based on proven systems and strategies. I'm going to give you that plan. That's my part. But you have a part also, just like these young people on the screen. Your part is number two. You work your plan. I can't do your work for you. I can't motivate you. I can't give you that fire in the belly. I can't cause you to get up at 4:30 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning and put in a couple hours of good work before the kids are out of bed. I can't cause you to continue to work on your database in the evening while everybody's watching TV and you're there and you're in the midst of it, but you're investing in your business to provide for your family beyond what they ever thought was possible. I can't motivate you to do that. I have a part and you have a part. My part's to give you the proven plan. Your part is to work the plan. I promise you, I'm going to do my part. So let's sum up this first half of our Sphere of Influence marketing class with a question. We're going to end the way we began. Do you believe that other agents facing greater obstacles than you face right now have successfully built a sphere of influence business that generates in excess of $100,000 gross commission income each year? Do you believe that? Is that happening right now in your market area? I can assure you it is. When I say greater obstacles than you face, I mean they weren't born in this area. They didn't have as much money as you have. They didn't go to the schools that you did. Maybe they just moved here. Maybe English wasn't their native language. Maybe they had a physical disability. I don't know what the challenge is, but other agents have them. We're all people. We're all full of pain and frailty and history. But those people facing those obstacles have refused to accept the things that they could not change, and in fact determined that they would change the things that they found unacceptable, and they're doing it. Do you believe that? Well, if that's the case, is there any legitimate reason that you can't do it also? I hope you'll say with me that there is none. That if they did it, you can do it. And because of the needs of your family and your aspirations, sometimes hidden deep in your heart, but the things that you want to do and fund, the impact that you want to make, the influence that you want to leave, the legacy that you want to impart to future generations, it's worth it. Well, there we go. That's part one. Stay with me for part two, where we will actually get into the plan. In this first part, I've worked on your beliefs, on your brain, on your mind, hoping to stretch you to be able to embrace the actual plan that we'll share in part two. We'll see you there.